Tenet for your yum sissit.
The interesting thing about time inversion is that to the untrained eye, you'll struggle to understand what's travelling forward in time and what's been inverted. Now, there is a trick to understanding this. But where's the fun in that? And enough for the isn't that? It's not. Is it? It's the.
This is my review of Tenet.
To do what I do, I need some idea of the threat we face.
As I understand it, we're trying to prevent World War III.
I'm not saying Armageddon here.
No. Something worse.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Luke's Reviews, and it's okay. Everything has now been reverted. Time is passing as normal. Christ, that was a tricky intro to film. And on today's video, I'll be reviewing my most anticipated movie of the year. It is the new film by Christopher Nolan, Tenet. For obvious reasons, this review is going to be entirely spoiler-free. I'm only going to touch on the briefest of plot details. Tenet stars John David Washington as the protagonist. No, literally, his character is only referred to as the protagonist, as he is tasked with a secret world-saving mission that leads him to face off against a Russian arms dealer that appears to have possession of technology that allows an object's entropy to be reversed. Like I said, that's all I'm giving you in terms of the plot for Tenet. Firstly, because I feel like the experience is 10 times better the less you actually know about the film. Secondly, because if I actually do try and explain the plot to you, I'm going to be here for hours and probably end up stuck in paradoxical time loops. Now, if there is one thing that we know about the works of Christopher Nolan from the past, is that he is fascinated with time. Whether it be telling his stories in a non-linear narrative, toying with the speed and passing of time from the world of dreams or galaxies away, or now in the case of Tenet, the ability to reverse entropy and analyse how to pass through time in a manner that we struggle to comprehend. Nevertheless, though, time is always a constant. But what makes Tenet far more complex than any other Nolan film prior to this is that we are seeing him manipulate time before our very eyes. In this film, time is used as a weapon. It goes without saying, Tenet is one heck of a film. And now that it's available in cinemas and being pretty much positioned to be the saviour of the cinematic experience, personally, I think that the best way to experience this is on the biggest screen possible. But I will provide a word of caution. Do not expect to understand this immediately. Having seen the film twice, I think I've got a fairly solid understanding of the mechanics of the story and certain components within the narrative. But that's not to say that I understand everything, though. In fact, when I saw this film the first time, I would probably say that I understood about 45% of the film. I basically ensured that I was not going to film a review just after seeing it the first time, because I wouldn't really know how to translate my thoughts into words. Seeing it a second time, things become a little bit clearer, and I was able to actually gain a better understanding of what I thought of the film. I think an interesting way to look at Tenet is to treat it like a spiritual sister to Inception. Now, when Inception came out in 2010, the concept of going into dreams and battling your subconsciousness and ending up in potential limbo, it was a pretty hefty concept that not a great deal of the audience really understood, and it was only after sort of rewatching it numerous times that you begin to pick up on the details a bit more, and you understand the concept that Nolan is striving for. And I think the same goes for Tenet, that he likes to challenge his audience, and I'm all for that. I love a film that is going to test me, realistically, but I do think that he might have overestimated his audience to a certain degree. it's a complex film, because whilst I don't necessarily consider this to be Nolan's best work, and you can stay tuned to this channel because I'm going to have a Christopher Nolan edition of Ranked coming up very soon, and you can find out what I do think his best work is. But yeah, while I don't think it's his best, this lends itself to an infinitely rewatchable experience. Nolan throws bundles of information at you, never really giving you a chance to breathe. It's almost like you're getting set for a 100-meter sprint, except that Nolan is already flying out of the blocks before you've had the chance to tie your shoelaces. It's a grand and immensely complex concept to wrap your head around that gradually increases in its complexity once Nolan begins these fantastic cinematic spectacles. As for the spectacle side of things, I can confidently say that you are never going to have seen anything like this before cinematically. It's Inception on steroids. Giant, sprawling set pieces that are flowing both in a linear sense of time and then reversed. This is the type of thing that cinema is made for, and it requires a vision that only someone like Nolan could have actually been able to bring this to life. And what makes it even better is how diligent Nolan is for shooting stuff in camera. There is very little VFX in this film. Nolan is a huge advocate for practical effects, and so what that does is it adds to the immersion, it adds to that experience of watching Tenet. There's a scene in the trailer where you're seeing a plane crash into a hangar, and it's real. They actually did that. And again, the same goes for the sound design. It's all about immersion, the gunshots, the explosions, all designed to feel as if they're happening meters from you. Occasionally, though, it's a little tricky to hear some of the dialogue. Doesn't help with the score by Ludwig Göransson, who does an amazing job. I think this is possibly one of the bassiest scores to ever exist. But when that score and that sound design are combined, sometimes it can drown out a bit of the dialogue, although I didn't notice it as much on the second viewing. Tenet is, without a doubt, one of the most immersive experiences I think Christopher Nolan has ever concocted, but it's also one of his most complex narratively. And this is by a guy who built a movie around dreams within dreams. However, though, as is common with Nolan films, despite these grandiose concepts and large-scale blockbuster-type scenarios, he usually grounds it in a human-driven story. For Inception, the emotional crux is Cobb trying to return home to his children. For Interstellar, you've got Cooper, who is galaxies away trying to save the human race, but more importantly, his family at the same time. Now, the emotional linchpin within Tenet, I don't think is as strong as Nolan's past endeavours, but Elizabeth Debicki, for me, is the real heart of this film. Her character is stuck in a really terrifying situation with Kenneth Branagh's quite menacing antagonist. You can tell that her character, she just wants to escape, she wants that freedom. Elizabeth Debicki, I think, does a terrific job in this. She really grounds her character quite well and presents this situation as something very realistic. There's something haunting about the position that her character is constantly put in. Kenneth Branagh is also on top form. He's definitely hamming it up. For some, that might not be their cup of tea. For me, it really worked. His character is just this disgusting, vile person, but you also get a sense of how much of a threat he is from the knowledge and power that he possesses. Robert Pattinson stars as Neil, a character recruited by the protagonist to help stop Kenneth Branagh on his villainous ventures, and he really shines in this. His charm and charisma is just oozing out of the screen, and he really holds himself up in the action sequences. But John David Washington as the protagonist is the coolest of the bunch. We're pretty much seeing this unfold through his eyes. We're learning developments at the same time as him. And Washington is the perfect leading man. He's got that suave, badass quality to him. He's a more than competent action hero, but he's also a caring guy. His presence for the whole film is magnetic. He's able to carry this incredibly lofty and giant epic on his shoulders more than confidently. His commitment to the fight sequences is something to behold. Once again, you ain't seen anything like this. My only criticism about his character is that we don't know too much about him. There is kind of a mystery. Like I said, we don't even know his name. And that kind of created a bit of an emotional detachment But that being said, the character serves as a brilliant go-between so that the narrative and the spectacle can be adequately balanced. There is so much to break down and analyse about Tenet that it is well and truly going to be a film we talk about for years to come. Nolan notches up another technical and storytelling masterclass, proving that no other filmmaker is anywhere near the level he is operating on. After the movie-making world having been at a standstill for months, I cannot think of a more perfect experience to welcome audiences back. And as you leave, and you scratch your head trying to understand everything that just happened, honestly, I think the best thing you could do, so long as you're willing, is to plan to see it a second time. Overall, I'm going to give Tenet a 9.5 out of 10. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on Tenet. Let me know, have you had the chance to see it yet? I know it's come out in some countries a little earlier than others, so please keep the comments spoiler-free. I don't want anyone being spoiled. And my question to you, I'm not going to ask you what your favourite Christopher Nolan film is, because I've got a special edition of Ranked coming up very soon. There we can talk about our favourites and what order we put them in. But my question to you is, what genre would you like to see Christopher Nolan tackle next? Me personally, I'd be really interested to see what Christopher Nolan would do with a horror film. And as I'm sure some of you are aware, we are currently on the road to 300 subscribers. So if you are watching this video and you are not yet subscribed, please click that subscribe button and it will mean the absolute world to me.
Right, even on the five in it. Jag love mig skötseln ett låt. Ska beställa marknaden upp sig upp som snack. Jag måste som singel låt. Jag går med five och nästa snart snack. När jag är duktig då ska jag till på mig. Ska aldrig jag är upp sig då jag bara hit. Jag står snabbt.